This video is on signals in pink-green bottoms, and I'm going to examine a real long pink-green bottom and show you how you can each day see that the signal is not there. In this example here, I am in ACHC, and I am basically in March of 2017. And between the green vertical line and the pink vertical line is the days that zip green came down to 0, which is the start of a pink-green bottom, because you can get pinpoint green bottoms, pink-green bottoms. And the pink line is the last day that we have, or the ending of the pink-green bottom. And on that day, there is the signal. And I will, while I'm at it, I will point out that this is one of those examples where I've mentioned in the past. Right up here in the candle chart, you see the day after the pink-green candle, you get a little doji. And when you get those, I think the majority of the time they're green, but this one happens to be just a hair under green, and it's a red doji candle. When you get those after a movement that's going to go up, you then wait, hold your position, wait the next day, because you're going to get a nice green candle. And then I'll show you why. Well, I'll identify it right now. Zip red right here is at 64. Zip red right here is at 97. When zip red, we have 3 different categories of zip red movements, around the 50 points, 70 points, and 90 points. Sometimes I say 85 to 95. And then, though, when it lands and stays above 95, either 96 through 100, when it's up there, the next day it's going to go up. So the fact that on this this first long green candle day, we know that the zip red is at 97. There's a extremely high probability that next day it's going to go up. We don't always see a second day huge green candle, but we do see a green candle. Now back to what we have here on the green vertical line. We have zip green at 0, and we have zip pink at 24. Again, if you haven't heard me say zip green, the definition of a pink-green bottom, before the pink-green bottom can go up, 99.9% of the time it goes up when when zip pink is right next to it. In other words, it's low, it's been going down, and it's right next to the green line. Now it can be above 1, but it usually always works best if it's under 1. In this example, I think it was at 0.1, so it's really low. I've seen it at 0.03 many times. The zip pink line, when it starts out, will usually go down. In this particular case, we had a little BOC patterns with it. I guess we've just had one day where it went up. All the rest of the days it went down. Now, because it's at 24, that's not a signal. We know that it goes real low, gets under 1 the vast majority of the time prior to it going up. So we're not going to trade it on this day, and obviously so, because on the vertical green day, the start of the pink-green bottom, we had the twin yellow lines, zip yellow and power yellow, highest and going down. And we all know that's a downtrend as long as they're both highest and both going down. And in fact, as long as I'm at it, when the power yellow crosses under the power green, that's 2 days after the vertical green line, that's the start of a much stronger downtrend, because yellow is underneath the power orange and green. Even though in a couple more days it disappears it's already underneath the orange and green, and it'll be underneath the other lines, but the zip red, with the exception of this day where red came up, but notice the price didn't go up, so that's a logical I'm staying in the trade situation. We can see here that it goes down on this day here. That's the last day that zip red is. We would stay in it that day, and then we would end up on this day right here, and on this day right here we then have zip red that is above 50 and zip yellow that is under 50, and with on the white line I'm talking about, and both of them are going up. And if you know the definition for a red peak, zip red's up and above 50, zip yellow is up and under 50. We like to see it under 35 for good results, but for a red peak, which is a reversal pattern telling us that it's going down the next day. In this particular case, we also have the zip Zion line that has been continuing down. And again we have the deep cycle indicator, the powerful swing gray, that has reached a peak about 10 days back from this white line and is now going down, and we just about ready to cross underneath the swing red line. When it does that, it's definitely in a more serious downtrend, and that occurs right there. And so when swing gray crosses under red, it's the start of an official downtrend as far as the swing gray line goes. And so that right there would tell us we're in a downtrend, and now we just got to find the signal, which is about 5 days ahead of the white vertical line. Okay, now on this day right here, which is the next day that I wanted to talk about, we have a low angle up on the zip red. It's hard to see, it's more elongated than we normally like to see, but we obviously have a low angle down in all three price lines, which tells us that we're going to be going down. And with the idea that it's obvious in the swing gray line, but we've been going down now for 10-12 days, and there's always assume you're going to continue down until you see a signal. At this point, zip Zion is at zero. There is a huge market of buyers leaving this stock, or there are huge numbers of somebody with a lot of shares leaving the stock, because they too see that it's going down. Now, with that in mind, we have zip pink at 22. So zip pink is, remember, we're trying to get that under 1 or really low. So we go to the next day. There's the first red candle in that real strong downtrend. And on that day, we have, again, we have the zip yellow highest and going down. So we know we're not going to be going up. But zip pink is at 4.5. It's still too high. The following day we have zip pink at 3.5, and it right now is lowest and next to green, but it is at 3.5. It's just too high for what we like to see, and we're pretty confident that with power yellow way down below orange and green and zero, and with zip yellow still highest and going down, that tomorrow is going to be a down day. I mean, that's the way it works when you got those two lines. The formula is that the two twin lines, Zip Yellow, and Power Yellow, they have to be highest and they have to be going down, but that doesn't mean that once yellow is continuing down really low under zero that you'd have to drop out of the trade. I'm assuming you're swing trading right now, and in fact it's an excellent way to stay in the trade as long as Zip Yellow is highest. So that brings us to this day over here. Zip Yellow is no longer highest, but what do we have? We have Zip Pink at 1.4. Zip Zion and Green are both at 0. Zip Blue is at 1.6. And Zip Yellow is at 5.2. Now that's pretty significant for us at this point, because we have that's a fairly strong separation between blue and yellow, Zip Blue and yellow. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, when blue and yellow separate, one of the two are going to come and meet the other one, and that's going to cause a significant movement in price until they connect together. At this point right here, with Zip Yellow at 5 and Zip Blue at 1, they're still not like where we would like to see them. And with Zip Pink at 1.47, there is a possibility that things could turn up, because at this point here we still have the price red is lowest and price green is I guess second highest. Price green is under blue now at this point, and we're in a what we would refer to as a bottlenose pattern on the price green and red and blue. So it's definitely a possibility that this thing could be going up, as if you're just looking at the price chart. But we've been continuing in our downtrend here. We know it's a very strong downtrend because we're now our fourth day. I think our fourth day here. Here's the first green candle, and now we're here. So this is the third day that I guess the fourth day. We are now Zip Zion at 0. When you have that, you have a really strong movement going down, and you need a strong signal that tells you it's going up. At this point, Zip Gray is still crossing down. It's going to be heading under green the following day, and your other lines are still not moving up on this third day before the pink vertical line, with Zip Yellow and Blue where they're at. And if we look over here on the trend on the trend chart, we see that red is now under lowest, going down under green. That tells us we're in a downtrend. Trend gray has crossed under the first trio line. That says we're in a downtrend. It's under 0, under yellow, and of course your power green is under your orange, which says you're in a downtrend, and all of the power 4 lines and red are underneath the 0 and the green line as well. And power red is at minus 0.82, and you've heard me say before, you can't go any lower on power red than minus 6. So it is at the bottom, and it's still going down. And so there's no signal on this day. If we go back to that third day, if we go back to that third day right here, Zip Pink is at 1.4. But there's too much evidence that tells us there is no formal turnaround. And as soon as the market opens on the following day, The very open tells you that we're not going up because it gaps down slightly. And then it goes down, and as well, zip yellow and blue are going down. Because in this pink-green bottom pattern, the zip blue and the zip yellow are your primary signal identifiers. They tell us, they're the signal that tells us that the stock is now going to move up. And meanwhile, up to this point right here, the zip yellow and blue have been going down, and zip yellow is now at 4 and blue is at 5.8. Over here, zip yellow actually was 1 over here, excuse me, and then it went up to meet the 4. The blue went up to meet the yellow, but the yellow came down. It was at over here, yellow was at 5.29, yellow went down to 4.5. So yellow has been going down for like 20 days. And that when yellow is down, or at least one of them are down, we do not have a signal for an uptrend off of a pink-green bottom pattern. And so we still know that 2 days in front of the pink candle, we are not in we don't have a signal. We don't see an uptrend coming. We like to see down here in the swing chart, we like to see both the swing pink and the swing yellow going up while swing Zion is going down. Because remember, Zion is your price indicator, or price barometer. Swing Zion is a price barometer. A zip pink is a price barometer, and the 3 price lines, red, green, and blue, are your price barometers. Those 5 lines move with the price. So when Zion is going down and yellow and pink are going up, that's divergence, and that's a strong indication that we can expect an upward movement soon. That's not happening on the day before the vertical line. The yellow and pink have gone down again. Pink has obviously formed a right leg W pattern, which is an excellent pattern for a turnaround. And so we get to the next day on that pink vertical line, which is the day that green is the last day that price green is under 0. And it is also the first day when zip blue and green, I said that wrong, when zip yellow is at 8 and zip blue is at 10, with zip green and zip Zion at 0. See, that movement that zip yellow and blue makes upwards is with the understanding that green is still at 0. And very seldom, I mean, there are other conditions. This is probably the #1 signal for a pink-green bottom pattern turnaround. There are situations in which the green, the yellow, and the blue, and many others all leave 0 at the same time. Excuse me. But that's the idea. Every single line, you can see if there's a signal on that. You can read them with the sensitive indicators. You can tell what's going on. Even on this trend chart over here on the pink vertical line, this is the first day that the trend red is in a BOC pattern, which is technically what some would say is the start of an uptrend. And sometimes you can get a nice green candle with that BOC pattern in trend red, because trend green is going down, so you're in divergence right there with your and it's the start of the turnaround. But we like to see trend red cross over trend green and physically start being red above green, which is the start of the uptrend. So it depends a little on what the market pressures or how they're pushing things, but that's how we see it from the perspective of identifying the uptrend. Keep in mind too here on on this vertical green, on this vertical pink line day, Zip Zion goes, Swing Zion goes up after that day as well. And so swing, pink, and yellow are all going up on the day after the pink vertical line. But remember, the indicators say everything's going up. All three are going up, but we get a red doji. So when you get that kind of strong movement and you get price that hasn't moved at all, then you end up with a really strong candle, a green candle, like you do over here on the day after that doji, or 2 days after the vertical pink line. Excuse me. So it becomes obvious when things start moving in the right direction. It's at this point on the vertical line day that most of your power or your zip lines are above the 50 line. And obviously when things are traveling above the 50, they have a tendency to go up. But people do not realize how powerful Zip Yellow is. They don't understand when it's low, it controls the price, and when it's high, it also controls the price. And you can capture a lot of information from the Zip Yellow line. So always keep that one in mind. That's a real long pink-green bottom pattern with every single line identified and examined and shown that no signal was present or available under normal conditions until we got to that last day where Zip Yellow and Blue were together and going up. And I think they were 2 points apart, 8 and 10 when they went up. So, amazing system, isn't it?